To be honest, I've never thought a flashy car important. But when my missus bought her new cars, I never liked to drive them. I preferred my old Fiat Palio, my 20-year-old
Yeah,
Fiat Palio, old faithful.
yeah.
I drove an Escort XR3 once in the UK, but apart from its acceleration, I never thought too much about it. You know, but we're all different, I suppose, and we've all seen them. A new car on the drive, but
Yeah,
nothing in the fridge.
yeah,
Those sort of neighborhoods.
yes.
Right. Although I can never get it out of my mind that a car is nothing more than a box on wheels. I can never get to grips with those who think it's the most important thing in the world to have a sports car parked on the drive.
Yeah.
After all, with all the congestion and 20 miles an hour speed limits in the UK now, it isn't exactly Nuremberg Ring in most cities.
Okay.
So people buy these things as status symbols to try and cover their own inadequacies, their personal inadequacies. But doing so, even if your peer group is riding bicycles, sort of makes you look a little bit like a cuckoo in the nest of a wren.
Mm. Yeah.
He's the odd man out. In the recent local elections, Green now elected councillor Mohammed Baghdadi Khan, strange name for an Englishman, uh, recently shared online a video of himself driving a Lamborghini of all cars to a friend's wedding in 2023.
Yeah.
He must have been trying to upstage the bride or something. And instead of everyone looking at the bride and saying, "Oh, a
Yeah.
Lamborghini."
Yeah.
There are people around like that, so you know. But his liking for fast cars didn't stop there, because these days he drives a Mercedes with private plates, and he used it to drive to all his campaign meetings and events. A far cry from the tree-hugging, sandal-wearing Greens of old. I imagine there will be no Just Stop Oil in his constituency from now on. It's important to say that this time around the Green Party campaigned more on Palestine than protecting the earth. That's progress for you, I suppose. I suppose that Mohammed Baggy Khan, his nickname is Baggy,
Okay.
and I think back in the days it was Baghdadi when it was fashionable.
Yes.
Became politically incorrect, and now it's just called Baggy.
Hmm.
Mohammed Baggy Khan will have to fit in some other way with his colleagues at the Council of Halliwell, Bolton, Greater Manchester.
Right.
There you go.
Okay. Right. I mean, when you talk about hypocrisy, it does not surprise me ever. Um, yeah. I mean, yeah. I may feign shock horror. Oh dear. But right in the past, I'm going to say it's about the Green Party. They probably had an important function, and they reminded us all to be more conscious about the environment we live in. Yeah, and I can get behind that a little. Yeah, but okay. They were never really any what I would call an extremist party in any sense, a protest party sometimes. But yeah, they used to have their spokesperson on, and some of what they said was backed up by ideas and science. And yeah, they used to state if it was an idea or concern. Yeah, they were a party of concern, and I can accept that. Yeah, I mean, yes, I totally agree that in order to reduce carbon in the air, we should plant more trees. Best carbon capture devices there are. You know, I can get behind that. Um, Now, the fact this guy has had or been in Lamborghinis, nice gig if you can do it, and other cars, you know. Yeah, I mean, you got to remember a lot of these green people, green people, for want of a better term for them, they all come from
Oh,
quite well off backgrounds. Yeah, probably better well off than you and I come from, which is probably
oh,
not a very high bar to set, but yeah. Yeah, we're middle class suburbans. They come from elsewhere, you know, and hell, they've developed for conscience. It does reek a bit of, and it's cliche, but it's relevant because he was such a good writer, and we read it at school, and subsequently said I teach about it. George Orwell's "All animals are equal. Some animals are more equal than others." Yeah. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. Do not do as I do. Yeah. And on that score, on the environmental side,
I suspect in this case,
yeah,
the electorate in Halliwell,
yeah,
in Bolton, electing a Green, not sounding very English named person.
mm.
I suspect that there is a high concentration of not very English sounding people, named people, right?
Yeah.
And I
Well,
suppose that could be the electorate, but it does show
yeah.
that the electorate doesn't really care about tree hugging
Mm.
and saving the earth.
Yes. Well, the Green Party, yes, you're quite right, has moved into, they call it left-wing politics. Um, I have a slightly different view of what you say English value or British value left-wingism is, because I consider myself with at least a toe in some of the ideals of them. Yeah. Um, with all due respect, yeah, they've now taken up the various different mantles that do seem at odds with each other. Yeah, I mean, okay, I don't want anyone dying in any wars. Funny that, isn't it? I'd rather that people didn't die in wars. It's not a very nice thing to do or think about. And yes, people should be able to live, etc., etc. I say etc. Yeah, be able to live peaceful lives. I agree. Um, you can be whomever you want. Yeah, I'm liberal enough to accept that people are always going to be a bit different, sometimes different from myself, and have different preferences. Yeah,
Yep.
and cool, be happy. That's my mantra. Be happy. Providing you don't affect the innocence or anything else. Yeah. Um, I don't. I mean, and ultimately, we do live or we do come from a free country. The UK is or was meant to be a free country.
Yeah,
And
but you need to remember, Mark, it isn't totally free,
yeah, well,
where many people seem to think it is.
yeah, okay. Now it's a bit strange. The Green Party seem to want to do away with alcohol, and yet allow hard Class A drugs. I mean, I've not really read their policies, I must admit. I have better things to do with my life than read a clown manifesto. Yeah, I mean, I must admit, when the Green Party, when they were properly the Green Party, I used to read some of their documentation because I found it interesting. Yeah, and okay, you can argue about some of the scientific facts, but that's it. There was argument on it. I find them, yeah, like you do now, a little bit strange, and they do seem to be attracting people that are a little bit more dangerous than hippies in their ranks. Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I consider them strange
Mm.
because we're talking politics
Yeah.
and it brings you just
Yeah.
turn over a stone.
Yeah.
We've all done it, turned over a stone, and there's all sorts of wildlife
Yeah.
underneath,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
running toward right. So that to me is like the House of Commons,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So, you know, if
Yeah.
somebody if somebody likes to drive a fast car,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, they should be
it's just
entitled
that
to if it's
it's
legal.
just
Yeah.
that it just goes against the mantra of what being green is,
Yeah. And
right?
and that
But
that
but as I see it as a politician
yeah.
these days, it doesn't matter what the mantra of the party is of what
Yeah.
you're supposed to be faithful to.
Mm.
As long as I can get elected, I don't care.
Well, yes, I will say anything, and if you're foolish enough to believe half of what I say and put an X in the box, I mean, yeah.
We're
And
going to
it's
see this unroll. We're going to see this unfurl over the next couple of days with Starmer.
well,
Getting him ousted. The some
yeah.
some through some Some through their through their went up on the cross,
Yeah.
to say I'm resigning.
Yeah.
Some were quite frank about it,
Mm.
and the amount of people that are wibble wobbling on the fence because will I get my salary next month or not? There was a fantastic interview, Mark,
Yeah.
on I think it was GB News
Yeah.
of an MP
Mm.
saying about the guy in Manchester.
Yeah.
She said that we need to find an MP who's in a really safe Labour seat to resign so that
Yeah.
Andy
Oh,
Sternham
I saw that. Yeah.
can can be elected. And the interviewer asked, "Well, yours is a very safe seat. Would you resign?" She said, "No."
Yeah,
You
no,
know, what I
no,
mean,
no,
talk
no,
about
completely. Yeah. It's yes. Turkeys don't vote for Christmas, or
no.
they'd rather the other turkey voted for Christmas. Yeah.
There you are. There you are.
Um, yeah. I'm afraid. Yeah. Well, I'm not afraid. As I said, it is not surprising. I mean, in the interest of this podcast, yes, okay. Let's just say, for instance, that somebody does give up their seat for Andy Burnham, are um, already. I mean, I actually think Starmer will still be in place next month because there is no one to replace him. That's yeah.
There are some that think there are,
Well,
but well, I mean, they can think
well,
that.
well, okay. There's two levels. Okay, people around them, the echo chambers will have their own people, and some people. I mean, okay, if we get Andy Burnham, so like Andy Burnham does it, and you and I, we neither like or dislike Andy Burnham. Okay, he's quite moderate. He's he's done quite a good job as a mayor of Manchester, from by all accounts. He's not hated. He's not universally hated. Yeah. Um, but okay, if he gets in, um, he hasn't. It's very difficult for a parachuted in prime minister. Let's just imagine. Doesn't matter who gets elected in, they're parachuted in at that point because they've replaced whom the electorate voted in with less than 30% of the population that voted for him. Yeah. Okay. Let's just. I know we don't vote directly for the prime minister, but he is part of the equation, and that equation changes. And at some point in the future, there will have to be in the not immediate future, but at some time, probably this year, there would have to be another election to clear the air and say, yes, this is the leader we want as a country. I mean, there's no saying that it will change. Parties will change. But let's just say that Andy Burnham wins and then has to stand for election. Is anyone going to seriously vote Labour for what they've done up to date? Disregards who the leader is. And I know we've taken a different turn with this podcast, but yeah.
Which is why he needs to be in a safe Labour seat,
Well,
like a little bit like Ellie Sandover. You know,
well, as a councillor,
she
yeah,
wasn't. She wasn't. She wasn't the most voted. She was the third most voted.
yeah.
Was the Prime Minister's niece, but she got elected.
Well,
That's the main thing, isn't it?
who knows? The Starmers could be the future Kennedys of the UK, but that's um, I mean, yeah, we don't have a traditional family involved in politics. The Churchills probably were to a point, and the Bens, don't forget, yeah. But other than that, yeah, they're minor players in it all. But yeah, but getting back to your original case, yeah, the guy's a hypocrite, but he's been elected in. He's a councillor. Um, I mean,
What you going
well, I mean, okay, in fairness, Reform have already lost a councillor somewhere. I think there's other problems with other Labour councillors and one Tory or something. I just glanced the news. So, yeah, I'm not particularly worried about this dude going around being photographed, TikToking in his Lamborghini. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. Let's put it this way. I think it's highly hilarious. Good luck. I mean,
which is why I brought it up.
as a red-blooded Englishman, I think, oh, yeah, nice in an Italian car, you know. Um, yeah, I mean, I
Well,
like,
as me knowing at my age why older men have flashier cars,
well,
right? He must have got a really small willy.
well, be careful because in my past, I've had an Escort 16 valve SI, and that was
Like I
fast
said,
as.
yeah, like I said,
Well, I'm not going to demonstrate on this podcast, you know.
no, you
It's
should
a wrong website for that. But yes, and I don't want to make money that
go
way.
click over to OnlyFans, people.
Yeah, well, you can see Steve perform. Steve costs more than me. Let's put it that way. Steve will cost more than me, you know, for women of a
I'm not
certain
cheap.
age. Yeah.
I'm not cheap. I'm not cheap.